Hello, Artverse. This is Rachel, founder of the Artverse, and today I have Yusuf Koasi.
Ooh, close. Qureshi. Close.
Qureshi. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
One.
Thank you. I'm super excited to bring his astro wildlife photography, landscape photography to this interview series. And I will let him sort of lead the way with who he is. So, Yusuf, who are you and what do you do?
Well, first, it's an honor to be here. Rachel's a bit of an inspiration to me, and being able to be interviewed by her is amazing. But as for me, I'm currently living in New Zealand, and I do, as you can see from my background, astrophotography, um, uh, with a little bit of wildlife and landscapes on the side. In my day to day, my degree's in marine science, but at the moment I'm working as a ecological restoration worker. It sounds fancy, but I'm basically just killing weeds and planting natives in the Auckland area, where I live. Um, yeah, and they kind of come together, like being out in the environment and trying to protect it and keep it sustainable, and then keep it sustainable so I can go out and take photos like this. They both come together, so that's pretty cool.
Wait, so how did you get into that? Have you always been working at that
Uh,
job?
no, I started this job ooh, nearly a year ago now. Yeah, so my degree, like I said, marine science, more water-based stuff. But COVID hit, and I was unemployed for a little bit. Decided to focus a bit more on my photography, but I realized my real passion, my one of my passions more is into conservation and things like that. So I decided to go in this job and increase my experience and get a bit more on my CV.
So, wait, how long have you been doing photography then?
Photography, I started doing it, I guess, vaguely seriously in terms of trying to get better and things like that. Maybe when I moved to New Zealand. So it's been oh no, maybe not when I moved to New Zealand, but like 5, 6 years ago. So I moved like 10 years ago. So 5 or 6 years. I always used to have a camera in my hand. My dad used to take photos a lot. I used to borrow his camera. And then when I moved here, I spent my first paycheck actually. Um, when I moved to buy a camera and a set of and diving gear as well. Um, and yeah, I was out taking photos. I had no idea what I was doing. And then eventually, yeah, 5, 6 years ago, a mate of mine, Rowan Nicholson, who's a big inspiration of mine, he took me out on an astro trip. We drove for about an hour and a half to this regional park, got out, walked 3 hours. I realized I forgot my tripod. Um, and I had to take photos of the stars with on a few rocks and like just trying to hold it up, try to it was an interesting start, but I was hooked after that.
Oh my goodness, that's such a funny story because I think every single
Mhm.
photographer will have the same story at least 3 times.
Yep. I
For
haven't
me,
forgotten a
yeah.
memory card yet though, so that's nice. I've had a memory card and I've actually I think I've had batteries fully charged. Yeah. Yeah, just about every time. So I haven't had anything like that major happen, thankfully.
Well, knock on wood,
Yes.
that's actually very impressive. I know I just had the whole, like, "Your memory card is full," and I had that panic mode in the field
Oh
of,
no.
"Did I back it up?"
Yeah. Did I import them into Lightroom? What happened? Did I delete
Yeah.
this?
No, absolutely. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. That's really amazing. So I guess I'm gonna ask, like, the obvious question, though. With your background in marine life, how come you do astrophotography? And, like, that seems like the opposite direction of where you wanna be.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't mind getting into underwater photography, but it's very expensive, and I did not have like Astro. All I needed was a tripod and like a decent camera, and you could do astrophotography. Underwater photography, you first need uh, the case, the safety, underwater housing, and then you need the strobes, and you need the mount, and then you need all this stuff. And I did not have the money for that, so Astro was the one. Yeah, so maybe if I save up and I start going diving more, Um, yeah, I probably will get into underwater photography, but at the moment, the stars will do.
But you don't just do astrophotography. Like I've seen some other kinds of work from you.
Yeah, so there's a lot of birds. Obviously, in New Zealand, our main native animals are birds. Like we don't have any native mammals, or apart from bats and lizards. So the main thing you can take photos of here that's wildlife is birds. So that's what I've been doing. I have a few friends, Eden Whitehead amongst others, who are very good wildlife photographers, and I just learn off them, go out and shoot with them. Yeah, I actually bought my zoom lens, my Nikon 200 to 500 for India. So I was going with my wife to visit her family there, and I was like, "We're going to India. I'm gonna go see a tiger. We're gonna go on a safari. We're gonna go see a tiger." We go. I buy the lens. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do this. I go, and I when we get there, they tell me, "Oh, it's monsoon season. All the wildlife parks are closed." And I was like, "Well, fantastic. I should have done my research."
Oh no, that's awful.
Yeah, well, it's alright, it's alright. Yeah, like I said, I still needed I came back here, and I've just been taking photos of birds ever since. So that was, like, about 3 years ago.
Well, that's really amazing. I'm just gonna quickly pull up uh, your website.
Go for it.
Um, yeah, there we go. So we have here, well, first we're going to have here is your Twitter, all
Yes.
lovely. Give him a follow when you're watching this. He's
But
really talented, great guy in the NFT space, and of course, a super smart cookie as well as a photographer. Um, we have this gorgeous, a unique view. So, why is it called a unique view?
well, it's kind of a play on things because, um, the Wanaka tree, so that tree is known as the Wanaka tree because it's outside this town, called Wanaka in New Zealand, and it's a very famous tree. A lot of people take photos of it, but it's a unique view because it's my photo of it. And it
Mhm.
was just the thing of being like, I've seen so many people, like, don't know how to price things and don't know, like, how can I mint this because is it worth what is it worth? Like, how do I value this and things? And I'm just like, it's your own work. If you've taken a photo of it, it's a unique to you. So it's a unique view of how you see the world and how you want other people to see it. Right. So I took that photo because it's like a photographed tree. And like that's all my unique interpretation of it, and I can price it however much I want to, depending on how I value it. It doesn't matter what other people say about it. So that was the whole thing about that little rant.
I love that though, and I'm definitely going to come back to this. How should artists value themselves? But I guess we should touch upon how did you get into crypto and NFTs?
Oh, how did I get into crypto? I honestly don't even remember. Like, it's been a while. It's been like I was into crypto before NFTs for a few years. Um, I think I just got into it by hearing it around just friend groups and things like that, and then started doing my own research about it. I was actually, you know what? I remember. No, it was the guy I get my prints from. He's very much into crypto photography, cryptocurrencies and stuff, and I got to talking with him, and he started putting me onto these uh, uh, podcasts and things. And then from there, he recommended like a few things I invest in, and then it just built from there. And I started doing my own research and things like that. And yeah, and then my basically NFTs comes from Twitter, which was initially my Twitter was basically full of football for me tweeting about my football and things, because Facebook, no one wants to hear me live tweet my reactions to football games. No one wants to hear that. Twitter was for that. I was full of Aston Villa, my football club's fans and everything. Um, and then a lot of photographers started coming on the Twitter, and then they started mentioning NFTs. And I was just like, I'd heard of NFTs beforehand from a YouTube video or from another channel that I watch, and I hadn't really cared about it. I was like, sounds cool, don't know what it is. And then I see photographers doing it, and I'm like, huh, this is a can I make money out of this? This is like because my prints were doing okay, but not too great. So I was like, well, how else can I diversify my income? And then NFTs arrived, and I was like, "This is a good. I can make some money out of this. Let's go!" And I fully FOMO'd in. It was stupid, and I was just like, no idea what I was doing. The worst caption on my first Foundation Genesis. But then I realized from the community and the group chats that I got in a part of and all that stuff that NFTs really is about the community as well. It's about building up other people and helping, make contacts and networking and like that. So that's kind of how I moved into it now. I'm not really, I guess, that hooked up onto sales at the moment. I'm more like trying to help people and onboard and just support my fellow photographers. So yeah, that's the basic of it.
That's amazing, though. I think that's actually kind of hysterical that a man whose job is physical art prints was the one who got you into NFTs, which is very much non-physical.
Mhm. Yeah, because he's got some good ideas about trying to merge the physical with the NFT and things like that. So I think that's why he was into it, trying to innovate and stuff. He's a real cool dude. But yeah, so
Oh,
it was
that's
really
exciting.
interesting to talk about. Mhm.
That I think there is a trend within the past, like, year and a half, where the traditional art scene of, like, prints and museums and galleries have started to over and merge with the NFT space, which I think is
Mhm.
really exciting.
Yeah. I saw that when I was last in England. I was in Victoria and Albert Museum, which is like a well, it's a museum, obviously, but it's more like a history kind of museum. But was it Victoria Albert? No, it was a British museum, and they had like an NFT, big NFT, not exhibit, but like they were selling their own NFTs, and I was like, this is crazy. I'd never thought like a proper like this is a government like funded museum selling NFTs, and I thought it was just like I haven't seen that being adopted into the mainstream as much as that, but then NFT NYC and all this stuff has come up and it's showing that we're getting more and more into the mainstream. Hopefully more people will come in and will build us up even more.
Wow, okay, okay, that's amazing to hear that, museums who have, like, a very big reputation are starting to incorporate NFTs.
Mhm.
I think that's a nice sign that, NFTs are not just a fad or, like, a trend that's gonna go out of style. Um,
Yeah, my entire family was like, "Look, NFTs, look, they've got NFTs." And I was like, "Oh, cool, guys. Yes, I know I'm into NFTs. All right, you don't need relax."
So is your family pretty much on board with you being into NFTs, or are you kind of, like, still trying to convince them that it's a thing, community is a thing, like
Um, I think my brother gets it because he's into crypto. He does photography as well, but he doesn't do NFTs, but he understands that kind of stuff. My dad's a bit more technologically literate, I guess you could say. So he kind of gets it, but not really. He gets crypto, but he doesn't get NFTs. My mom, no idea. She's just like, I basically just told her it's like a digital print, and she was like, I got you. Okay, fine. So long as you're selling them, and I'm like, yes, I'm making some money. Um, yeah, sisters there, they don't really care. They're like, it's a good like if you're selling great, you're making money and things like that. I don't think they particularly care about understanding, which is fine. No one's told me what are you doing, so that's good.
Yeah, I think that is one thing that we as, like, kind of the like, newbies into the NFT space, even though I don't feel like a noob, I feel like I've been in it for, like, years, even though it's
Oh
only
yeah, I
been
feel
6
old as
months.
hell.
Um, it is still such at the beginning that talking about it to other people who are not,
Mm,
like, involved in NFTs, it still is very much a you get a, "Okay," or you get a, "Oh, interesting," and then they move on.
mhm. And then you've got the people who are like, "It's fake. It's not real," and you're just
Yeah,
like, "Buddy, relax.
like,
It's
you're
real. It's a
ruining the
thing."
planet. How do you
Yes.
feel being a marine,
Yeah.
conservationist and doing NFTs?
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, "Guys, it's not that big an impact comparatively to everything else."
I mean, even compared to, like, YouTube, right? Like, the
Mm.
energy consumption of YouTube is just astronomical. Um Of
Yeah,
course,
and
there
I
are
mean,
more
not
users.
even like the physical stuff, that has an environmental impact probably just as much as so it's like, how much is printing the paper that you print your photos on? How much carbon do you use shipping it and all this kind of stuff? So it's like apples and oranges, you know?
Oh, absolutely. When you think about, like, shipping, when I
Mhm.
first started, selling prints, I would ship them to myself to double check the quality, and then I would ship it to the client, which, of course, would always, like, basically double the carbon
Yeah.
footprint
Mhm.
of the piece of the print.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so that is a good point. This way, you're just paying a little gas fee and
Mhm.
whoo, just
Yeah,
pay
and
for
then
that.
you can get that, there's that, a carbon offsetting, thing you can do, I think, as well with NFTs. So you pay a little extra and then it'll I don't know what exactly it does. I haven't really researched into it, probably should, but it offsets your carbon somehow, probably by donating to a charity that plants trees and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many, and I know I don't have to tell you this, but there are so many fun and innovative ways of offsetting carbon that don't involve just planting trees,
Mhm,
um, that are out there, and I think eventually maybe this demand for, offsetting our energy usage,
mhm.
it will actually might push, this offsetting more, um, publicly, you know?
Yep.
More people start doing crypto, whether it's cryptocurrency or NFTs,
Mhm.
um, the demand is there. So I see it as a positive thing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Cool. But let's go back to you. Okay, so you got into the NFT space,
Mhm.
first for the money, now for the community. Uh, for those who are kind of like on the outsides of NFTs, what do you mean by community? What is that?
So, the community, what I mean by that is the people that you can surround yourself that the ability to be able to surround yourself with like-minded people on Twitter who are there to help you out with whatever problems you have. Because I've seen that through my group chats that I've made through connections through NFTs and through Twitter is that they're here to help you, not just with your photography, but just with life in general. They're there to help you out. They're here to give you advice. They're here to build you up. Because I've seen people who have they've burned out, for example, and then the outpouring of support that the community, that the people that you follow and that follow you have for that person who's burned out is ridiculous, and they're ready to they do whatever they can to help if they're close by. They can visit and things. Being in New Zealand, no one's close by, so that's fine. But I see all my American buddies out there. They're just like, "Oh, you want to come shoot here, and I'll meet you there." And we'll do all that and that kind of thing. And yeah, that's what I mean by the community, really. And they're just, yeah, like I said, build you up as a photographer, but also as a person as well.
I love that. Yeah, I would completely agree. I think obviously the feeds and starting into Twitter is really hard to find your
Hmm.
tribe or to find people who, you jive with.
Yeah.
But once you do, I think in those group chats, like I don't comment that much, but I
Mhm.
love just reading them. Like
Yeah.
throughout the day, I'll just be reading and popping in and maybe liking a couple comments, but
Hmm.
it's just been fun, to have this
Yeah.
24/7 group support chat.
Exactly. Like you can just post the randomest thing and just be like, I'm feeling down, and people will just be
Yeah.
there to be like, oh, what's going wrong? How can we help? What can we do? It's gonna be all right and all this stuff. So that's what you get with the NFT community, I think.
Absolutely, and I think it's all genuine, it's all
Mhm.
authentic, we were all piqued by money and the ability to sell our art, and I think we all are still here to do that,
Yeah.
but I think, ETH crashes, we're like, "Boo-hoo," but then we're also like, "Hey,
Yeah,
what
exactly.
you doing?" Now that, you know, there's a bull market, bear market, whatever.
Yep. That's exactly right.
I'm going to pull up a couple of your, let's do a couple of your websites. So, of course, here we have your foundation. I really love a unique view. I love the thought you put behind it and
Mhm.
just the concept of, yes, this is a popular spot, but this is your shot. So
Yeah.
that's really great.
Mhm.
Here's your stargazer. Oh my gosh. Like, look at those colors. That is beautiful. That is really beautiful. Where is this? This looks like sand dunes.
Yeah, so this is near a beach in Auckland called Tehenga Beach. It's got a lot of actually technically it's called Bethel's Beach, and I think Tehenga's the area. But there's a lot of a bit 5 minutes back from the beach. There's a lot of these black sand dunes, and
Oh.
yeah, as soon as I saw them, I realized like I was like, they align pretty well with the Milky Way. I think I should take some photos there. And then yeah, I had a mate come out with me, and then yeah, she was willing to model um, just up there.
That's amazing. I love it. I think this is such a beautiful, like you said, just lining up perfectly right
Yeah.
there. Just as a random question, what were your settings? Is this like just a single shot astro shot?
No, I think this was it'd be a single shot for the foreground, and then it was possibly it'd be 9 shots stacked. I think 10 seconds each, f 2.2 possibly,
What?
and ISO. I can't remember the ISO.
Oh wow. So you stack your skies.
Yeah.
So these are on jpeg.store.
Mhm.
Um, is that what you did here as well? Did you like
So those are different. So some of these are tracked. Well, one of these is tracked, I should say. Number three is tracked, so using a star tracker. Um, number two and number one are both stacked. So I think the properties should show that it's at the bottom of the page. They should show that does it say what does it say? Yeah,
oh
yes. There we go. Exposure. Yeah, so it was about what is that? 4 minutes? Yes. My maths
wow.
works.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
So, in your pursuit of astrophotography, what has been your preferred way of shooting astro? Do you like stacking or do you like tracking?
Well, I initially started off just tracking just because I didn't have a star tracker. Uh, yeah, so I learned first singles, then blending a single with a foreground, a long exposure foreground. So you'd have 25-second background and then like a 30, 41 minute foreground and blend together. And then I moved on to stacking, and then I moved on to tracking, and now I'm sometimes doing both tracking and stacking, but my computer does not like me when I do that, so I don't do it very often. Um, but yeah, so it's been an ongoing learning experience, and I'm still learning more to this day.
Yeah, astrophotography, that's something that I'm just blown away by. I always
Mhm.
try, but then I always never get the right colors or
Yeah.
the focal length or, just it's so hard and you take so
Mhm.
much time to do it and you don't know if you really got it until afterwards
Yeah.
when you're processing.
Yeah, it's when you're processing and you zoom in, you realize you just not quite got it in focus, and you just really
Ah.
annoying.
Yeah.
But it
Um,
doesn't mean you have to go there again, so it's alright.
yeah. Yeah. So here, what is this? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, is that a space portal? Did you get like a black hole in your sky? Like,
Um,
what is going on here?
no, so those 2 are both so the top one is the large Magellanic Cloud, and the bottom one is the small Magellanic Cloud, so they're just, I think they're not galaxies, I think they're just nebulas in the sky, so you have on the left the
Wow.
the Milky Way arch, so the core of our galaxy, and those are just 2 other astronomical, what's the word? Not phenomena. That's like locations, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what to call them exactly.
Wow, that's like super cool you were able to get that. I've never been able to get that. So that's amazing. Ooh,
Yeah,
look at
and
that. I love the lineup.
yeah, so this was, I think, my 2nd or 3rd ever Astro shot when I
What? Get
took.
out.
Yeah, um, no, it was probably the 4th, actually, I should say that. First one was absolutely useless. First one was I had no idea what I was doing. I was, like, low ISO, long exposure, not seeing any stars, and just being like, "I guess my camera's broken, I don't know what's going on." And then after I get back home, I, like, actually take the time to Google it, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, high ISO. Gotcha, that makes."
Yeah, it's such a different mindset versus landscape, which you also shoot, right?
Yep.
You also
Landscapes, I
shoot
haven't done them
landscape.
in a while now, because Auckland weather the last 3 months has been horrendous. It has been, like, raining, and it's just gross. It's gross weather, not photography weather. It's not like the good moody rain, it's just
Mhm.
bad rain. So, like, I haven't been out shooting in a while, but, yeah, when I get the chance, I go out because I feel like landscapes are probably more accessible, obviously, than Astro. Astro, you have to wait for clear skies and stuff. Landscapes, you can go when it's cloudy, when it's rainy, when it's sunny, so I
I'm
do
just
like that.
gonna pop back to your website. We got a
Yeah,
few of these. Lots of Astra stuff though. I
it's
think
I do need to update my website. Looking at this, I'm like, maybe I should update it with newer
no, but
things.
it's so beautiful. Wow. Like look at that sunset. Gorgeous. So would you say that most of your imagery has come from New Zealand?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's all been New Zealand. I
Is
don't honestly think I've taken much photos out of New Zealand because obviously with COVID and stuff, I've like when I've seriously started taking photos in the last 4 or 5 years, I haven't really traveled so much for photography. I've traveled back to England where my grandparents are and my grandmom is and aunt and uncle, and I've just had a holiday there, like staying in our town and things like that. Not really gone, I guess, touristing very much or going on hikes or anything. So I haven't really done any of that. Most of that stuff is done at home here in New Zealand.
so now that the world is starting to open up a little bit, do you have any like landscape astro location goals
Oh, I mean,
or
like
wildlife?
seeing America and seeing like the foregrounds that they have available to them. I really want to go to America, but then I'm just like wolves, bears, mountain lions. I'm like, no, I'm okay. New Zealand, we have sheep. That's it. We're fine.
You have what? Don't you have mosquitoes?
Okay, mosquitoes, but yeah, but
Those
you
are
know,
vicious creatures.
you put on mosquito repellent, you're fine.
I mean, I guess you could like die of cuteness from like some of the animals out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen kiwis in real life, so that's been pretty cool. They're pretty rare, so that's pretty. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, there's not much danger here apart from you getting lost, and that's your fault. You can sort yourself out with that.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just like I've spent my entire life trying to be outside of the US chasing
Mm,
shots. So I think it's a wonderful reminder to say like, yes, the US has so much
yeah.
in the way of like diversity in what
Hmm.
you can shoot. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I feel like it's so large. The fact that you can just drive if you wanted to, like really wanted to, you could just drive, through and get from deserts to mountains and everything in between. Whereas New Zealand, I think, is a bit more. We do have our variety, but it's definitely a bit more of a temperate location. So it's not so much desert or like that kind of rocky kind of uh expanses and things like that. It's mostly forested and that kind of thing.
I mean, you have the Shire, which is like, in my opinion, the most beautiful place in the world.
Hmm.
So oh, that was one of my favorite places I've ever been is New Zealand, and if it wasn't so far away, I would be trying to move there. I still
That's
am.
fair. It is a long ass way from anything.
I mean, it's closest to Australia, which how long is that flight?
So it's a 3 hour flight from here to Sydney, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But then from Sydney to like the nearest country, like Malaysia, is like like 10 hours or like 7 or something ridiculous.
Oh, wow. That's
It's a long
crazy.
way. It's a long way.
Huh. Hmm. I didn't know that. I guess I need to go look at a map again.
Yeah, because yeah, like I said, we recently flew to the UK early this year, so it was 10 hours from here to um KL, not KL. Yes, KL. 10 hours from here to KL, and then on to 7 hours to Dubai, 7 hours to England. So a full 24 hours of flight time. So that was a lot of fun. Just in
So
the plane with the mask on.
KL is Kuala Lumpur, is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
And where is that?
Malaysia. Yeah,
Malaysia. Okay.
yeah.
That's what I thought. It was like Malaysia, Thailand. I don't remember.
Close enough. Close. They're relatively close together comparatively.
It's true. Wow, that's amazing. I think I don't know if you covered it. Why did you move to New Zealand again?
So I applied for university in the UK. And then my parents, they got convinced by my aunt and uncle who've lived there for like 30 years, well, probably 50 years now. They said, "Come to New Zealand. It's amazing. Like the 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 community." So I'm a Muslim. I'm proud Muslim. So the community here is very tight knit and very close, and the it's just beautiful, and everyone's so relaxed here, like compared to everywhere else in the world. People are so chill. So my parents are like, "All right, we'll move," and I was like, "I'm doing marine science, New Zealand, marine science. They go together." And we were able to get residency, so I was able to pay home fees as well for the university here. So all those came together, and I was like, "Yes, I'm coming with you."
That's amazing. Oh wow, that's really great when things line up like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
The stars aligned for you.
Exactly. See what you did there. I see it.
I try to keep the dad jokes to a minimum in these, but sometimes I'm like, "Ooh, have to
Now
say
you have. Sometimes you have to.
it." Okay, well, I have a question.
Yeah.
In the NFT space, what has been the hardest part for you getting into it, or what you're struggling with right now?
Well, I think the thing that getting into it wasn't that difficult because I think I'm relatively technologically literate, so I could figure out, how to set up a wallet, how to mint, and all this stuff. I think the thing that's really that I've struggled with is the, I guess, the burnout, the supposed burnout from it, and the perception that you have to be on Twitter 24/7. You've got those things where all your Twitter feed you're seeing is sales, 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 and you're like, but where are the sales? Where are my sales? What's going on, guys? I'm on here. I'm alive. I'm visible. See me. Buy my work. And just having that and thinking like, if I'm not on here for even a day, I'm going to miss out on so many opportunities and things like that. Where that you have to get out of that mindset and find that that's not the case. You need to live your own life outside of work and outside of Twitter and create and do things that you love. And then this is just your side thing that you should put some time to, but you should have like a limit to your thing where you're like, an hour a day, 2 hours a day on Twitter, and but then that's it. So yeah, that's the thing I've struggled with. It's the I guess the lack of feeling like being not being seen, and then seeing success and being like, why isn't this happening to me? Whereas like that's the whole point of the Twitter algorithm. It wants you to see the successes because then that makes you want to tweet more and use Twitter more, and then there you go. And it's just a vicious circle of going through that where you just realize, I'm worth more than my Twitter profile. I'm my own person, and I need to, you know, realize that. So yeah, that's probably the worst thing that I've had to deal with in
I
this
would
space.
agree. Setting those boundaries for yourself because it is so addicting,
Hmm.
especially in the beginning. Everything's new, it's exciting, you're caught up in the wave of like winning, and you're like, wow, yeah, if I show support, I'll get supported.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, yeah, that is a definite hurdle. or
Yeah.
misconception that a lot of artists have to like, okay, realign, readjust, figure
Mhm.
themselves out, figure out those boundaries and what's sustainable.
Yeah.
So how
And
did you
buying
figure
and
what?
buying dumbass PFPs. That's always a struggle. Always a struggle.
Oh my gosh, so many of my artist friends who are like photographers, illustrators, they actually have turned to like flipping PFPs just on the side. And like in the group chats, they're always like talking about them. You're like,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, like, I mean, look, it's fair if you're able to get the information and you're good at it, then it's a legitimate way of making money. I am not good at it, so it's not a good way of make money for me. Yes, it didn't end well. It has not ended well, so I've pulled way back from that.
I mean, I've had a few wins on my end, but I would have to say like 95% of what I do with
Mm,
PFPs, NFTs, I probably shouldn't have.
yeah, yeah, that's the way it goes. But that's a learning experience, so you have to go through it and then realize, "Ah, hang on a minute, this is not
Oh,
sustainable."
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's so fun. So fun, but so mm-mm. We live and learn.
Mhm.
So, okay, if I guess this would be the follow-up question is what would you say to someone who was just starting right now?
Um, be yourself, don't be discouraged. uh, talk to like reply to people's posts, get to talking to people. Um, yeah, I think that'll probably be the main things because there's no point you just tweeting about yourself and then expecting people to you know look at you. Like you need to be interacting with other people and talking to them and not even like like you don't have to be like, oh my god, your photo's amazing. You can just be like, oh, this is cool, and then ask questions and things like that, or anything in like a positive light, like um, interacting with others on this social media is I think the most important thing to get started with. Um, yeah, and always back up your photos, guys. Always back up your photos. That's my main thing. I've had too many hard drives lost. That's my main. That's my advice for anybody. Not even back up your photos. Don't lose them.
Oh my goodness, I feel like there's a story there.
Oh, there's no stories. It's just hard drives that are broken, and I haven't backed them up. That's the stories.
No.
Yeah, but actually, I there's a good there's a positive that come out of that my dad recently. So, um, uh, um, my Lightroom subscription comes like I use my dad's because at university they get cheaper Lightroom subscriptions, so I use his. It's fine. It's fine. It's legal. Two people can use them at a time, right? So, um, my hard drive died and I thought it was lost. And then like a few years later, we're looking through it's saying Lightroom storage, cloud storage is full. And I was like, I haven't been uploading any yet. I don't know why this thing. And then I go into it and I check and it's got all my old raws from my lost hard drive. And I was like, how? What is this? And I like this is like literally 3 years, like 2 years later, I check and they're all there. And I was like, this is insane. I mean, none of the photos were good. This was when I was just first starting photography, but they had memories to them. So that was the main issue.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
so amazing. Um, that like, now I have to go look because I'm, like, also thinking, like, "Oh, I've lost some photos." Yeah,
Mm,
I have to go check myself. I'm gonna share some of your what do you call it? Wildlife images because I just think they're so cute.
they
We're
are
gonna do
they are
wildlife.
very cute. The birds in New Zealand very cute.
Oh my gosh, just what garnet?
Gannet.
Gannet. Gannet. Oh my
So they're
goodness.
the Australasian gannets. So they migrate from here to I actually don't know where they migrate from, but they basically stay here over the summers to breed, and this is their breeding colony near Auckland. every year they come, and then you'll have loads of photographers coming out to take photos of them, and then so they have this big greeting, these between a male and a female breeding pair, where they when they fly back down from feeding, they all have this full on greeting ceremony kind of thing.
That's so wonderful. I love that. But also, what is this bird? This is an amazing shot where you just
So,
caught it with that little tiny fish in its mouth.
so that's a tern. I'm not entirely sure what tern it is. It is a tern, and it does have a fish in its mouth. And not gonna lie, I've forgotten about that photo, and I was like, huh, I did take that photo. Yeah, so I
That's
just
amazing.
the thing about wildlife photography, you're just holding the shutter down while taking those photos, because you never know what might happen, or you never know what you might capture. So, and what might be blurry. So you have to keep taking photos.
Mm, mhm. I mean, I'm super impressed you got this in focus. Like, look at that. The details of the wings are
Yeah.
just so amazing.
See that when they're flying, it's 50% luck that you've got it in focus. You just got to be like, please, please, camera, focus, focus, come on, focus. And then you'll have 50 blurred ones, but the one that's in focus, that'll be a good one.
Wow, I can't even move my camera fast enough to catch. Oh, what is this cutie? Look at his
So
rotundness.
yeah, it's a thick boy. Those are kererus. They're wood pigeons, so they're a native New Zealand bird. They actually, if they eat rotten these berries, these fruits from these trees, they actually get so drunk they can't fly anymore.
Are they on your open seas foundation?
No, I
Where
haven't don't have any bird. I there that is
you
there's
don't
a
have any birds?
there may be a bird collection coming out in the foreseeable future, but I'm still on the debate, still trying to figure out which shots to put in and that kind of thing. So not
I mean,
quite.
I think this one screams, and this is not financial advice, but I think this one would do really well on Tezos.
Mm,
I love that. I love it. Wow. Okay, sorry, I'm going to
no, no
stop
worries. No
because I was
worries.
just like looking at all the birds. Great. Well, why don't you share one thing that you're working on or you're thinking about that's coming up for you? Like, what's next?
Well, in terms of photography, I guess what's next is I've got a few places that I want to go visit in New Zealand to take some photos, to take some astro of. There's actually a couple places near Auckland that I've taken photos of previously. Actually, this background is uh, uh, this place called Keyhole Rock. So if I turn that way, so that's wait, that's the keyhole,
Mhm.
right there. Um, so that I've taken that photo. I've taken a panorama, a big panorama of it, but it hasn't been. It was back in the day, so it's not the best panorama. So I'm going to go back with my tracker and do a big, high detail, crazy panorama of that. And then going to the South Island, hopefully to take some winter astro as well, to actually have some snow and freeze myself to take photos. So that's the plans. Ideally, NFT wise, there's not. I haven't really, like I said, I've been more focused in helping people and things like that, as opposed to creating my own work at the moment. Like I've got my foundation, OpenSea, my Cardano stuff on JPEG Store, and the Tezos stuff, Tezos photos. But there, like I said, the wildlife, that is a possibility for me to make something on that. Um, and then yeah, just maybe one of ones depending on how I feel about the photo at the time. Basically, if I look at it and I think yes, this is good, then maybe I'll mint it.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it, and
Mhm.
I am so jealous of you going down to the South Island to shoot some snowy astro. Like,
Yeah,
ugh,
I just need to
that's
convince the wife. She doesn't like the cold or the dark, so I'll put her in like a spa or something. Like, look, you can do this. I'm gonna go take photos.
So, do you typically have your wife be the model in most of your shots?
Oh no, absolutely not. She's like I said, she does not like the dark. She doesn't like the cold. So she's at home in bed asleep.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
But it's been really lovely looking at all of your art. I really enjoyed it. And I think we should probably wrap this up since we are hitting that 45-minute mark.
Time's
But I
flown.
want to,
Time's flown. I didn't
yeah.
even realize.
But thank you so much for your time. It's great hearing from you. It's great seeing your art and sharing a little bit more about you. Um, I guess we're going to leave it with the final question of trying to think of like what's a good one. What is your favorite shot, and what is your favorite life quote?
Favorite life quote. Oh God, I don't really subscribe that much to life quotes. I'm not gonna lie here. Like, uh, um, yeah, I don't think I have one.
Or like
I guess
life
live and let live,
motto?
live and let live. I'm on that vibe. I'm on that vibe where I do my own thing, you do your own thing. If your thing isn't impacting, like hurting me or anything, then you go right ahead and you do that, and I'm gonna do and the same with me. If my stuff's not impacting you, live and let live. Um, yeah. My favorite photo would be, um, I think my favorite panorama photo would be this one of my first ever tracked panorama, where I just nailed it. I beautiful. And on my first go, and I was just like, yes. So that being being able to produce that, it was freezing cold, and I'm out there, and I've tripod aligned, taken each shot perfectly, like perfect rotation of the camera. Next row, da 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 da. Next row, da 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 da. Come home, edit it, put it all together. No errors, no panorama not working. Fully done. Edited it perfectly, put it out, and I was like, yes, I've done something good, and that's been my favorite photo. Like the culmination of my learning over the past few years of astro and stuff, and getting to that photo. Yeah, that would probably be my favorite. Just from the backstory of it, I guess the favorite photo in terms of the aesthetic of the photo. There's this lion rock. So there's another beach out in Auckland called Piha, where there's this big rock formation that kind of looks like a lion. If you squint your eyes, it looks like a lion. Um, but there's a good shot of it in like perfect, a twilighty, like pastel sky color, and it's just like, and there's like a leading line path going to it, and you're just like, this is a good photo. This is beautiful. This is something good. So yeah, that's probably my most aesthetically pleasing photo that I've taken.
I love how passionate you are when you talk about these locations and getting out there. Um, yeah, that's
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean,
And I,
that's why you do it. My wife always, like, so my wife, she always says, let's go for a walk around our suburb, and I'm just like, no, I hate walking. And she's like, but you like tramping, but you like hiking. I'm like, no, I like seeing cool things on the hike. Like,
yeah.
this is why I go on these ridiculous, like, multi-day hikes and stuff. It's not for the sake of hiking. Hiking sucks. Like, big bag, freaking in a tent and stuff. Like, okay, cool. Like, I can deal with it, but then going to see stuff like this is why I do it, and getting to show that to other people. Showing these beautiful locations is why I do it, really.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I agree. Hiking sucks. But when you have a camera, it makes it
Mhm.
worth it.
Yeah, 100%. Unless it turns cloudy, and then it rains, and you're like, oh God, oh no, why, why, why am I here?
Right. But then it pushes you to get like those super minimalistic shots, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
You're like, wow, took a picture, done.
Yes, exactly.
So, okay, last question. Last question. Is there a dream shot you have that you want to get?
If I can go to the South Island and get Milky Way with some Aurora Australis up in
Ooh.
there, that'd be the one. Or Greenland, not Greenland, Iceland, anything to do with Iceland. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
I mean, you
It's that's
should
because every photographer, every landscape or astrophotographer ever is just like, "Get me to Iceland."
Yeah. I mean, Greenland or Finland, I mean, they also have Canada, you
Yeah.
know, but,
Alaska's also
Iceland.
very cool. I've seen some cool stuff for Alaska as well. So,
Mhm.
there's a lot of for some reason, it's a lot of cold places. I'm not like I guess I want to go to a tropical island for photos. No, I wanna go to the coldest places possible.
Coldest place. Well, that's because you only get, the auroras nearer to the poles.
Yeah.
Um, wow, yeah. Getting that astro with aurora shot, that would be freaking epic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Freaking epic. Well, cool, cool.
Fingers crossed.
It will happen. I am certain it will happen.
100%.
But thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more. I know I certainly did. I think your work's amazing, and I'm very excited that you are a part of the Artverse and just here building community, spreading your beautiful art, and just being a wonderful person to connect with.
I
So
appreciate you too, Rachel. Yeah, no, it's been an honor. It's absolutely is, and being part of the Artverse is just another positive of the NFT community. So, join it.
yay, yeah. But also, yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing what else you produced after your trips around the islands.
Yeah, fingers crossed it all goes ahead. So, yes, let's do it.
Fingers crossed. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you everyone for watching.
Cheers, guys. See you guys later.
Bye.